Hello! Welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Mondays. I am Jason Hahn, and today we are talking about My Hero Academia 350, titled Bound to a Fiery Fate. This is probably one of the best My Hero chapters in a long time, and I'm anxious to talk about it. But we've got a couple guests with us today, some fellow Screen Rant writers. I'm a video game news writer who also loves comic books, and I got some buddies who are quite versed in comic book article writing. Definitely check it out. But we'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Steven, you want to go first, man?
Yeah, so my name is Steven. I've been writing for Screen Rant for about a year now in the comics section, mostly doing manga and all that good stuff, but also loving the Sonic the Hedgehog and other things like that. So, and also exciting time with the Sonic 2 movie, because apparently one of like the original characters from the now canceled Archie Comics series was referenced, which is kind of like a big deal with fans. So exciting
Oh
time.
wow! Oh,
Yeah.
oh boy, we need to get into that Sonic lore. I'm excited to go see that movie. Taking the little guy next weekend, but yeah, I've heard it's a good time. I think they have a lot of deep lore to get to that a lot of fans have no idea about. So let's see if it gets into the weird territory. uh, but how about you, Carlyle?
Hey, I'm Carlyle. I'm writing for Screen Rant for about a year as well. I mostly do My Hero and One Punch and Dragon Ball Super. And so this chapter has been highly anticipated for me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've it's a great time for manga, and a couple things have taken a break this week. So this one kind of resonated a little harder because it didn't really have other chapters to kind of compare it to. Because sometimes there's a chapter from another manga that is so good it kind of overshadows the weekend mental thought process. But this one we'd been kind of waiting for. And our last Mega Manga Monday, My Hero Academia discussion, we had kind of talked about, we really hope that this series gets refocused because we were jumping around from battlefield to battlefield a lot. And this chapter gave us everything we wanted and more, I felt like. It's centered around on Dabi's backstory, and we even got a little bit more narration from the you bring up Sonic, Dr. Eggman of My Hero Academia.
Yeah, right.
The evil professor is in jail, and he's just deciding to dump a bunch of lore on us. And I really enjoyed that because it's kind of giving us the option to hear even more from him. Hopefully we get the like he stole Deku's cork when he was a child theory, and we now have an avenue to explore a lot of those theories. And I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't just feel like talking about Dabi and his gorilla police officer guard starts just like, hey, so this thing's been bugging me. And then we just get all the series secrets spilled through exposition. But what are some things about this chapter you guys wanted to talk about?
Yeah, you want to start, Carlisle?
Yeah. Obviously, looking at this, I think that's a very in character thing for this guy to do, to just kind of monologue about all these things that he's accomplished, because given what we know about his history and who he was before he teamed up with All for One, he really just wanted to be recognized. So sitting there in the jail cell and talking about everything that he's been up to just so that somebody knows that he did it, it totally checks out.
Yeah, absolutely. All for the benefit of us. We get all that precious knowledge. But yeah, I'm excited to hear more about it because he's definitely kind of been I don't know about so much the brains about behind all the evil deeds of this series so far. It's obviously All for One. However, he is the one that will tell you everything about it, compared to All for One just evilly laughing about it and all of his contingency plans.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the one who puts it into motion, because he can do all like the crazy experimentations. Like, it all comes from All for One's mind, but he's the guy that actually carries out and makes it possible. So
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, how about you, Stephen?
yeah, I mean, so with this look into Dabi's backstory, I mean, it was actually a lot better than I thought it would be. What I was envisioning was that the fire or the flames that Dabi has now were the flames that engulfed him on that night, when when Toya died and he became Dabi. But we actually find out that he basically lost almost all of his power, and that All For One had to, train him up to, bring his fire back. And that actually really resonated with me, like kind of more on a metaphorical level. Like it kind of makes this whole situation worse. So it's like that what's powering him right now isn't the fire that he created to, to get his dad's attention. Like, this is the fire that was created by All For One. And like, so it's like completely tainted power. Like it's going a little into the weeds, but that, like, it was a really strong image for me.
Yeah, I'll go ahead, Carla.
I was just also agreeing.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. And it gets me kind of anxious to see how they decide to color it, because I don't think he had the transition from his, red flames of training with Endeavor to the moment where the blue flames manifest. I'm not sure if we even saw that in this chapter. But the whole like transition of him waking up and you finding out, well, that's also the thing, is him waking up in this weird nursery with this sunshine smiley face dude. And we kind of exist in this comic where people have powers to do anything that the plot needs to happen. So it was almost making me think that this could all just be like an illusion of Toya waking up, and maybe he is just in like a dark some dark rundown warehouse, but they're using this illusion thing to essentially have him see exactly what he needs to see to transition. But even he rejects that at the end, if that's what we're doing. That's what I loved about this, was they're like, hey, we fixed you. Your dad's a big douchebag, isn't he? And then he's just like, no, screw you. I'm gonna go do my own thing. And it's just been consistent with Dabi's character. Like, I've always wondered like what convinced him to like join this liberation group, especially even with Todoroki, or no, not Todoroki, Shigaraki, because he's always consistently been like, all right, I'm not a team player, I'm just doing my thing, and it's to the detriment of the bad guys' plans half the time. And this kind of just proved that he's always just using everybody else around him. And I love that we even got the narrator saying like, oh, he never bought anything we were trying to sell him. He's just always always just fueled by that rage. And I'm amazed, surprised, and delighted that they are able to tell that all in this one chapter so effectively.
Yeah, I mean that. Then I'll let Carlyle go if he wants after the, like, just really quick. I mean, you touched on it perfectly. I mean, what was so intense to me is that basically it the way it was worded is that Dabi's hatred, or want for vengeance against his father, was so powerful that All For One couldn't control him or manipulate him, and he's been able to like manipulate everyone. And like it just kind of goes to show like how much that rage has been driving him as a character, and that really resonated with me, like on a really deep level, just because it just goes to show of how much it's kind of just enveloped him. And even then too, what's crazy, going off my latest idea too, that we were always saying that the flames that are around him, like it's basically like eating him alive, like the fires of his vengeance or whatever. But then also, like, we find out later, is that the only reason why he's alive right now is because of that want for vengeance. So it's like what's keeping him alive is vengeance, but then the vengeance is also like eating him up, like burning him up inside. So it's like he's almost created like a hell for himself. Like he's living in his own hell, which is pretty intense image.
Yeah, and real quick, I in this chapter is kind of revealed that he has like regenerative tissue, which I think is giving him some sort of healing factor,
Right.
um, at least a slight healing factor to help him repair the body he keeps on destroying. And yeah, I know we had drawn some parallels to like Deku's early powers of like the more he uses it, the more he destroys his body. But sorry, did you have something you wanted to say, Carlo?
Just once again, this is another excellent comparison over to Vigilantes, because the villain in the final chapters of Vigilantes here has a very similar backstory. Was in one of these uh, facilities as a potential vessel for All for One,
Oh wow.
and had his powers played around with, and in fact, it's spoilers for Vigilantes, but yeah, he's burning himself up as well. Um, I wonder if perhaps the powers that Six ended up with are in some way related to the powers that Toya had.
Six is the name of the guy in
Yeah, he's
Vigilantes.
he's Nomu number 6. He doesn't have a
Oh
name.
my god, I need to start reading that. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, for some reason, like, are you still doing pitches for it?
Yes,
I haven't
I
seen it.
definitely am going to probably write about this exact thing as soon as I'm done with this.
Awesome. Well, yeah, check that out on Screen Rant because yeah, as we're saying, like anytime we come up with a really cool pitch that relates to something past in the storyline or something how it connects to other things, we usually write some pretty cool stories about it, and these guys are really good at it. So definitely check out Screen Rant for that stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of going through some of the panels on this, just the chapter after Toya is like burned alive essentially, and the mysterious suit wearing figure just kind of stumbles in, and I'm just having a hard time imagining if that is All for One, how he knows exactly where to be all the time to like save these people and try to manipulate them. I wonder if he has a quirk to be like, I know exactly where I should be right now.
Probably.
But yeah, I really enjoy. I'm kind of curious if that was even the moment because we got Toya going back to his home and seeing a scene of Shoto and Endeavor beating the crap out of a young Shoto to train him, and then we kind of just get a panel of him saying like, "Oh, they left me behind," and then suddenly he's Dabi. Like, I kind of feel like there could have been something else to push him to being the sad boy who wants his father's approval to suddenly being the I am going to murder everything that Endeavor holds dear. Like it's quite a jump. So I'm almost wondering if we're done with the flashback or if we're going to get a little bit more, because I feel like we're missing a chunk of that. Like I'm really curious to see the time between Toya praying to his memorial at the house that he went back to him becoming Dabi and going back to the doctor and saying like, hey, this is a place that I feel like I want to join you guys because I want to die doing this. Like so I'm almost not sure if we're done with flashback stuff, but yeah, what's some other stuff that stood out in this chapter for you guys?
I do think it's interesting that I think most people probably would have expected that when he wakes up from his coma that he would still be really upset at his dad, and it's very interesting that he's just kind of like, no, it's okay, we can patch this up, I got things to apologize for it, blah blah blah. And then we skip ahead and then he comes back and he's like, okay, I'm ready to fight now. But something must have happened in that period. I think there's definitely going to have to be another flashback.
Yeah, I mean, as much information as we got dumped on this one, and pretty smoothly, I might add. Like there wasn't a point where I'm like, okay, another whole page of text. I have to get through all this, like some other series do. But this one was a page turner. I went through it pretty quick, but I still feel like we're missing something.
Yeah, there's definitely a hole in there. So I really hope that that's the case. Just because this story is really fascinating, and I do agree with your guys' assessment that there is something had to have happened because when he did wake up, he's like, "I'm not fighting for you. I'm not gonna like." The way he worded it, it sounded like he will only train under Endeavor. Like it's like you're not Endeavor. I'm not interested. I don't want you to train me. kind of thing. So when he woke up, at least he was definitely still like, I still want my father's attention. Before was like, I want to kill my father now.
Yeah. And kind of going back to what you said earlier in this very episode, he woke up being told he doesn't have any of his old powers or anything. So everything that he has shown in the series as Dabi is self-taught, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of his own powers that he worked on himself to be able to accomplish. And that is kind of the whole thing Endeavor wanted in the end anyway. He wanted his son to like become strong enough to be stronger than he is and to overcome him with his own strength. And I think he's going to get that, but just not in the way that he wanted.
Well, you don't kind of going back, like, I know you usually do a really good job of pointing out, panels that stand out to you. But in this case, like when he's hearing all of the laundry list of things that happened to his body, like I think that it was just like a wonderful, like the look on his face, like he's clutching his face, like just like listening to that whole laundry list, like, oh yeah, you don't have powers anymore. Oh yeah, and by the way, you're like all these parts of your body are gone now, or something like that. And it's just like, you can just see the sheer horror and fear on his face. It was very well done. It really captured that. Like it was, and also like you've been asleep, you've been in a coma for 3 years. It's like, oh my god, like that one panel did a beautiful job of capturing that terror.
No, yeah, I'm glad you pointed out that panel too, because I had the same reaction after I just looked at it. It kind of took the wind out of my sails. I was like, he just like very, very well drew a character who was like told you'll never walk again.
Yeah.
Or your sibling just died. Like, it just the state of shock and horror and absolutely nothing else going on in the panel. It's just he's gripping his shirt, and it's just there's so much emotion in that one little panel. And it might be on the thumbnail, just saying. Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, I mean, I actually, and I'm probably reading way too much into it, but I do have like one problem with all of this. Not really a problem, but it kind of just like showed like how this could have been better. Like in that final panel, where he's saying, once I burn away all that thing holds dear and near, that, I'll be able to, they'll know I've left my mark on this world. Like it, with that, I wanted that before all of this, because before, like, and it would have helped the anticipation to this battle with Shoto, because like before now, it always felt like this was like a stepping stone. Like it made like the progression made a lot of sense that Dabi has to first fight his brother before he can finally, go against the big bad in his mind, Endeavor. So like it made sense chronologically that he would go against his brother first. But it always felt like it was something you had to fight through. Yeah, I guess we have to do Shoto first. I kind of want to see Endeavor, but it's like, it almost feels like that comment doesn't make sense, because it's like he's saying his number one drive, I want to burn everything that, that Endeavor holds dear. But we didn't see that beforehand. Like when Dabi is going after Endeavor, like, when they're all doing that first rush, like both sides are colliding in that big charge. Like,
on this battle.
Like Dabi is just like hurling insults and quips at Endeavor, like he's completely ignoring Shoto. Like it's like you could just see that his direction is at Endeavor, but it's like if Dabi cared that much about burning everything that Endeavor holds dear, like wouldn't he then want to completely burn and destroy Shoto? Like you would think that he would be like, okay, I gotta, kill your son, who's like your precious, child who has the half hot, half cold quirk. I don't know. Like it either feels like that it was miswritten, or that he's kind of lost in the moment. Like he relived his past, and now he's like, I want to kill everything.
I think it's closer to that. I think he has. I don't think he's the tactician. I don't think he's the tactician of the series. I think especially when he was put in that scenario and Endeavor's in front of him, like his main objective is to hurt Endeavor. Like. Yeah. And if Endeavor's there, he's going to go for that first, and probably before he delivers what he thinks is the finishing blow, he's the type of guy to be like, after I'm done with you, I'm going to go get Shoto next, something like that.
Yeah, this is a very classic bad guy kind of thing. Like, I'm going to make sure that he sees everything else to be destroyed before I destroy him.
Absolutely. And I think that was even more emphasized with those lines of dialogue of where he doesn't even say Endeavor's name anymore, or dad, or anything. He hates Endeavor so much that he doesn't even have the respect to call him a human, or he, or dad, or anything anymore. And it's kind of that's kind of what the story's pinnacle has got, or this storyline's pinnacle has gotten to, is Shoto, who represents the hope for the Todoroki family, and Shoto kind of helped Endeavor realize that he was going about this all wrong, and everything he did with Toya and training and everything was wrong. And Toya still represents that version of Endeavor, that idea, while Shoto is the new idea that, you know, things can coexist, and especially with Shoto's powers, like, he is just the perfect antithesis for everything that Toya is against, like, with training and balance and all that stuff. So it's, I'm back in. I know last discussion I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. They really need to do some big twist or something to get me to care about this storyline, or at this the Todoroki family line storyline. And I'm in. I am 100% back in. I really don't. Again, I don't think I see Dabi surviving, especially with him. But that might be the big conflict here, that Dabi's going to be throwing insane, you know, fire blasts one after another, and Shoto is, his main objective is to maybe try to keep his brother alive or burning himself out. So I'll be curious to see if this fight actually is a fight, or if it's Shoto trying to keep his brother alive while his brother is killing himself, essentially.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
and a lot of those final frames, it's just like, you're not sure what is still left of Dabi. Like, even the final frame, I'm looking at it right now, like the drawing makes it look like the top of his head isn't even like attached to his bottom jaw anymore. Like, it's just it's very bright. Yeah, who knows? I'm hoping that things get resolved in a way that we want, I guess. But of course, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely, it was an amazing chapter. I just wish that I was more excited about this Shoto versus Dabi fight. Like, this is like when I got really into it, like this, especially the last panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, no, it makes a lot of sense, you know, that he doesn't, you know, think that far ahead. It's just like I wanted more of that. You know, that he like, there's something more, you know, driving him to want to fight Shoto, rather than, oh, you know, we're trapped together and I can't fight Endeavor now, so I guess I have to fight you now, kind of thing. But
yeah, I think he's just consistently
a personal problem.
I think he's just consistently like, okay, what can I do right now that will hurt Endeavor the most? And he's just consistently looking for any opportunity to do that. But yeah, what do you guys what do you guys hope is going to happen with chapter 351 next time?
Carlyle, you can go ahead.
I'm trying to think of whether I believe we're going to stick with this or we're going to bounce around again. I hope we stick with it. I'd like to stick with this for at least 5 chapters, you know, but I worry that we will be bouncing over to another topic next week, or next chapter, I guess, since it's not going to be next week.
Yeah, I guess it's going on break next week, so we'll have some time to think about it. But yeah, if we do jump around some more, I'm kind of hoping that we just go back to Dr. Eggman in jail, and he's just telling us more lore dumps. But oh man, it would be such a shame if they jumped around, because I feel like they've finally gotten one of the ongoing plot lines, one of the fights going on, to, you know, very close to the climax of that particular drama. We've been waiting for Shoto and Dabi to be stuck together for a long time. Oh, and Dabi straight up melted the statue, the All Might statue.
That's pretty cool.
That was a pretty cool panel. But I mean, just everything that statue represents too, like the fragile peace that existed after All Might successfully, did his final United States of Smash Punch. And I mean, things have been kind of bad for a little while in this, in this world, but that statue is supposed to be like the reminder that, good can triumph and stuff like that. But it wasn't really doing a whole lot of good.
Well, especially too, I mean, going back to the statue, I mean, like when All Might was at his lowest, when he was, I forgot at one point, but where he was beginning to doubt everything, and Stain actually comes, and visits him and shows, he points All Might to the attention of the statue where this woman comes every day to clean it off, because every day, like, people were like covering it with graffiti and whatnot. And so like that statue ended up not only saving or helping, everyone feel hopeful, giving them hope, it actually ended up helping All Might himself. And now seeing it being burned down is pretty powerful image, at least when you remember that scene a little while ago.
Yeah, we've seen this statue quite a few times at this point. It's been used to punctuate certain moments throughout this, so destroying it is very effective.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had actually completely forgotten that that's where they were. I thought it was like a symbolic image, but I was like, oh wait, you're right. They're actually in this particular area, so that's even stronger. Yeah, I completely forgot that they were there to begin with.
Yeah, and I somewhat forgot about the Stain All Might thing, because what a crazy scene. Like if like somebody who is halfway through season 2 was told, oh yeah, Stain and All Might have a good conversation at this place, you'd be like, wait, what? I can't believe that happened. What's Stain doing right now?
Wait, what?
I forgot what they did at the did Stain just like disappear after his talk with
I mean, he's still out there. We don't know what he's up to. I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up at some point in this final battle.
Oh, that was
chapter Vigilantes.
That was actually like that scene could have been so much more intense though. Like it was like one of those moments you used to call it, Jason, like, oh, here's a candy bar instance, like
oh yeah, this guy needs to calm down.
Yeah, well, no, but it's like, I don't know, I could have seen that moment where All Might could have completely fallen, like, and gone back to like his old ways, where he does everything on his own and he doesn't like seek the help of others. Like, Stain had given him that audio recording, or no, he had given him that note that had all this like secret information that, All Might, it was like All Might's chance to almost kind of become a hero again by using that and, helping it himself. But then he ends up giving that note to, to the heroes and everything. Like, it could have been an intense moment where we saw All Might kind of convert back to his old ways and kind of exploded in on itself, but he ended up finding redemption.
I think there's definitely some potential in that idea, but I think that they didn't do that because we kind of had Deku doing the same thing, like he's going off and doing all this vigilante stuff on his own and not really communicating with his team any more than he absolutely has to. And so if All Might were to turn around and do that same thing after admonishing Deku for it, then it's kind of, I think it would have lost a little bit of its punch. But if you were to restructure that whole section of the story differently, that could definitely be an interesting way to do it.
Oh, no, that's what I wanted. Like, like also with Deku, because like the last time they had met, Deku was like, "I don't need you anymore," and he just walks away. That awesome scene where All Might. But then all of a sudden, it's like, they get home, they get back to the school, and then they could have been like torn apart, like not speaking to each other. But then All Might apologizes, and it's all better. It's like, I don't know. I felt like that they were trying to keep it a little too. They needed to keep it happier rather than getting really dark.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately what we all want. Like, Dark Deku was a lot of people's favorite bit of the story lately. And but one thing that just made me realize this too, I think we just got a big old death flag for All Might.
Huh?
I think that's a death flag for All Might. Watching this statue melt and burn, and we still have Night Eye's prediction that All Might was going to suffer a gruesome, horrible death. And you know, and I see that happening by the end of this series, and I feel like this is another death flag. With Dabi melting the statue and everything.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I know that Dabi's been one of those characters where he just wants to see the hero society fall. So it's like one of those things where it's like, and definitely the statue is the epitome of what hero society is.
Yeah, and I'm honestly surprised that the villains haven't like targeted All Might yet, because I mean, him still even being alive is sort of a symbol of you know what, for heroes. And if they were to take him out, I think that would be a major blow to the morale of a lot of people, which might be why they're saving it.
Yeah, they're waiting for that big moment. Just put it on television. Film it for the world. That would be badass. Oh my god.
I think that the only problem with something like that happening right now is that All Might is back at their base of operations. He would have to book it out to the battlefield.
Yeah, or
not that I put that past him, but
right, exactly. But yeah, I was almost waiting, like while Deku was out doing his being a vigilante, essentially, I was kind of hoping that that's how they were going to do it, or how they were going to lure Deku into somewhere, is kidnap All Might, and he was going to be too late to save him or something along those lines. But I absolutely think All Might is going to bite the bullet by the end of all this. But they're obviously waiting for a more punctual story beat to happen, because he still has something left in this story, and I would love it if he's able to have, you know, enough to have some sort of fight again. There was almost one instance when he was fighting, or when he was trying to track down Deku, and some guys came up on him and they're like, "Hey, give us your money," and he just like pretty much used his intimidation stats and rolled a 20 and was able to scare them off pretty well. So I'm very curious to see like what is left for All Might's story by the end of this series. But the destruction of that statue kind of makes me think that you know, I think it is a death flag for him, and I'm wondering how it's going to go down. But yeah, I too hope that we don't jump around. I'm hoping we stick with this bit. Hopefully we get a little bit more flashback, because as we said, there's still a little bit missing from Dabi's backstory. Like, it's just a very sudden change of, I went back home and realized my dad's still a jerk, so I decided I'm going to kill everyone. Like, whoa, okay, that's a jump, buddy. Let's go back there and let's see how those steps manifested themselves there. But I think even in this chapter, it was insinuated that he went back, or he like torched the place he woke up in. Because
I think
it was like after the computer voice was telling him, "Oh, we can train you," and he says, "Shut up! I'm not getting trained by anyone else." Then the next thing we see is a building on fire and him running away from it. So I wonder if he torched all those kids in the Sunshine Man.
Yeah, quite possible.
Brutal. Well, yeah. Any other thoughts on My Hero Academia 350 before we sign out, guys?
I mean, I would just say, I mean, I agree with what you guys have been saying. Like, I hope that it doesn't jump around. Like, we're definitely at a massive like inflection point, you know, where the momentum is all here. So switching it would kind of deflate the sales that are already like full. Well, they're full, going on full wind or whatever.
Yeah. I'm no
I was
sailor.
gonna go with that. That analogy kind of went away, but yeah, hopefully it stays.
Yeah, because by jumping around, it'll definitely, then if we build up the tension somewhere else and then jump around again, it's like, okay, are you building for like a couple chapters where everything just happens one after another? Then that would be poor pacing. So I think we're going to stick with it, and I hope we're going to stick with it. But how about you, Carlyle? Where are you hoping it goes next?
Yeah, I definitely hope we stay here. I think that it's pretty likely now that we've had a couple of these in a row that we're going to stay here for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how Shoto approaches fighting him, because it's going to he's got some different, he's got his ice power that's not something that Dabi has access to, but that's also kind of a symbol of what he dislikes about him, that he's the one that kind of fulfilled the fatherly dream there.
Mm-hmm.
So whether using that ice power to restrain Dabi and keep him from burning himself up, it might be an interesting way to approach this. We'll see.
Yeah, I too am curious about it, because we don't know if Dabi's just going to be in a tailspin to, cause as much damage to burn himself out. But it reminds me, we also pretty much got a preview of this fight already, back with the Liberation arc. Dabi fought the guy who had
Oh yeah,
apparently even crazier ice powers than it seemed like Toto or Shoto is able to control. And it just kind of turned into a stalemate. It was just huge things of flames against icebergs, and they kept on canceling each other out. And fire obviously doesn't really bug Dabi. So and that's kind of another thing I've said in a few of our My Hero discussions is Shoto has kind of peaked in this story, and in a long time we haven't really seen him develop any new techniques or anything really new. We've kind of gotten teased that he was learning like his father's most powerful fire attack, which I think they both yell out at the end there, flash fire heat fist. Yeah.
Really?
Which is
that's interesting.
well, I think it might be Dabi just yelling it, but I
Yeah.
think that is the name of like Endeavor's ultimate attack. He used it against the Nomu in the huge city fight. That was pretty epic. But yeah, I'm curious to see what Shoto pulls out here. There's always consistently been a lot of things where I was like, man, if he could like combine his heat and his ice at the same time and cause some sort of like cool fission technique, or
spray him with water so that he can't ignite anything anymore.
yeah, that would be so anticlimactic. I would love it if it's just like a bucket of cold water and he's just like, yep, all right, are you done? And he's like, no, I'm just gonna go on fire again. And he does it and just bucket of cold water again. He's like, I can do this all day, buddy.
You know what would have been amazing though? Like, come to think of it, because I've actually felt the same way about Shoto. Like, the most fascinating thing about him was his struggle with him, embracing Endeavor's fire. Like, he was only using, the cold side of his quirk because he just utterly refused to acknowledge his father, even his power, and that was like, hurting him as a hero. It would have been absolutely incredible if this were the first time that he finally like learned to use Endeavor's quirk against his brother. That would have been a really good pacing, actually. Just come to think of it, it would have kept his story alive rather than where it's at, where it's kind of sputtered out. But that's just looking back, hindsight 2020 type of thing. But
So, actually, you kind of just kick something else in my brain. Like, we've been so focused on Endeavor on this side. However, one of the main reasons that all of their mother is locked away is because of the trauma of the Toya incident.
Yeah,
And I almost see her showing up. Like,
that would be the only way that would probably diffuse him. Actually, if you think about it, that makes
It
a
would
lot
be
of sense.
interesting. Yeah.
And we've never really gotten any sign of her power or her doing anything of that kind of thing. I don't think she's going to come in and be a viable, fighter or anything like that. But
That'd be kind of dope.
that's one story beat that I think would resonate pretty heavy, is if she showed up and we were forced to see, or if Dabi was forced to have an interaction with his mother, because she was a victim of Endeavor even more than everybody else could have been, and getting her insight is exactly what I think Dabi would need to calm him down. But I don't know. We have a couple ideas on how this could end. It could poetically end with Endeavor and Dabi going blazing off into a panel of white and they both die.
I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, Shakespeare would probably like that too. That just seems like the most poetic ending, but they've been kind of keeping the Todoroki mom in the background for so long that I almost wonder if they did that on purpose. So then, if she does show up in this fight, it's going to really resonate. But pretty excited to see it. We're on break next week for My Hero Academia, but according to information, we're going to be wrapping up this whole story pretty shortly. So I think things are going to be popping off pretty quickly. So excited to see 351. But we'll go ahead and do a little bit of plugs. This has been My Hero Academia Mega Manga Mondays. You can listen to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Spotify, iHeart, radio thing, whatever they call that. But just if you Google Mega Manga Mondays, you'll find some more stuff. We do series discussions for One Piece, and we have some new ones to record for One Punch Man. We need to get that scheduled too. It's been a lot of fun. Carlyle, you got anything you wanted to pitch or plug today, man?
Just you can always follow my visual novel project on Twitter, Elven Revenue. We're implementing a new system for it, and there should be a new demo by the end of the month, and that will be very interesting. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, the first demo was a lot of fun. I know some people were checking it out, and I think last time we talked about it, you were saying they wanted more business aspects added to it.
Yep,
that's pretty cool.
So that's what we were doing. Yeah, I saw some of your tweets actually, like you about like the in the tavern and stuff. That was pretty cool. I like that.
Well, check out links in the description for Elven Revenue Service. I know Carlyle's been working on it for a little bit, and you can try out a free demo. It should be a good time. How about you, Steven? Anything you're working on or anything you want to plug?
I would just say that the new one-shot by Fujimoto, Goodbye Eri, absolutely brutal. I was talking about it with Jason earlier. But yeah, it's I gotta say, like his last one-shot before this, Look Back, completely different.
Creator of Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man.
For those who don't know.
That's right. Yeah. Completely different from Chainsaw Man, but in Look Back kind of brought that there. But then Goodbye Eri, oh my god, like it took Look Back to the next level with just the amount of like they're really depressing at the same time without giving away too much. It captures the power of film and how much a creator. The power that a creator has to make things look the way that he wants. Absolutely incredible manga. I really recommend people look out for it. But again, it's a very, very touching subject. So viewer discretion is advised.
On a My Hero Academia related note, I got the notification about that chapter on the Shonen Jump app, and it just said Goodbye Eri, and I just was like, oh no,
right.
How did she get into this battle? So no, we can't have that happen.
Right. We were just talking about how this show is not going to kill any of its high school students, but they killed Eri. No. Oh man, that dark twist of My Hero Academia. But yeah, the new manga from the guy from Chainsaw Man, a lot of his other works just have the ability to reach into your chest and warm your heart and then rip it out and stomp on it in front of you. It's the guy is so good at drawing in and making you feel things. And
he's just good like with the psychology. Like he knows how the brain works, and he is my hero.
yeah, I wish him all the luck and success, and I think Chainsaw Man becoming an anime soon is going to light the world on fire. I don't think they're ready. But this has been Mega Manga Mondays, My Hero Academia 350, and had a lot of fun talking with you guys, and excited to do it again soon.
Yeah, definitely. Me too.
All right, well, this has been Mega Manga Mondays, and check out our other stuff, and more importantly, have a good day.